Yep.
This one's not too long, so we'll still have you out by designated time. I guess, you know, we've been spending a lot of time on planning because you do need to spend a lot of time on planning, but we're now probably going to move more in sort of marketing, and then from marketing into some of the law, some of the finance, and some of that sort of stuff. So we're just doing a shift to the left because marketing is an incredibly important part of what you guys are going to do. Having sort of half figured out what we're going to do, we now need to think about how we're going to market this. And when we're talking about marketing, you know, there's a whole lot of those of you that have done any marketing courses. There's the 4 Ps, the 5 Ps, the 6 Ps. We're up to about 7 or 8 Ps. But 4 Ps is the basics of marketing, which is price, promotion, place, and product. And these are the things that we'll be needing to ask of you once you've developed your business model. How are you going to market in terms of these things? And we're going to go through these over the next few weeks and cover it. So when we're dealing with product, we're talking about the saleable goods and services. Always best to use the word product when you're talking about what you're doing. A product, and when you're talking about a physical thing, we're talking about goods. This is a goods. When you're talking about what I'm doing now, it's a service. So there's goods and services at the lower levels. Both of those are products. But the ultimate description of what we sell to customers is products. And it's really important to get that definition right. Sometimes we sort of call it products and services, which is a wrong terminology, because products is both goods and services. So it's saleable goods and services, which is quality, design, features, packaging, and so forth. We all understand that. When we talk about place, we're talking about distribution, location, the methods that we use to get the product to the customer. That's what we call place, either a shop front or including the logistics and internet and so forth. Price is the price that people pay, obviously. Customers pay for the product. So we need to be talking about how we set prices, and that's a whole complicated science in itself, but we'll be covering that in the course. And then, of course, how we're going to promote, how we're going to communicate the benefits and the value to the customers. So they're the 4 Ps. They're the 4 Ps that we're going to cover as we go through the marketing section of this course. I want to talk to you first about commercialisation. And when I first was thinking about commercialisation, because there's a lot of ideas, but a lot of ideas can't be made commercial. There's a lot of, you know, commercialisation is a particular art. In other words, to be able to make money out of something. You know, someone asked me, you know, could you build something that, or what was, I'm not sure what the question was, but it was something about, it's easy to build the biggest business in the world. And that would be selling $10 notes for $5, wouldn't it? That would be the most in-demand, biggest business in the world within a day, isn't it? But that's not really commercial. That's not what we're here for. We're here to sell $5 notes for $10. So product commercialization is a real art, and it's a little bit. We need to sort of bring some of your expectations down, and that's what this is about. So when you look at the dictionary and you look at commercialization, it's these two things: to apply methods of business for profit, to do, exploit, or make cheaply for financial gain. We all understand that. Commercialization is about making a profit. We understand that. But the second part of the definition is really interesting, and it's something that anyone who's been in business knows all too well, that this is the truth. If you're going to make money out of something, you need to do this second part, and that is to sacrifice quality for profit. And that's the part that gets most people in this course. Because you've all come to the course because you said, we are going to do the U-Butte thing that no one else is doing. We are going to do everything that our competitors don't do, that's what we're going to do. Every time you add something that you're going to do, your costs go up like this. As soon as you open your mouth and say, and we're going to do, all I see is the price goes up. And then we're going to do, and the price goes up. And then we're going to sell it for what everyone else is selling it for. And I say, so how are you going to live off that space there that you've left? We actually have to do the opposite. We actually have to sacrifice quality to make money. And for most of us, that's a jarring thought, because we're all coming to this course because we were going to do something far better than our competitors. And we will. But we'll do it in a slightly different way to the way you're thinking. You're thinking you're going to be 100% quality on everything. I'm saying, let's only be 100% quality on the things that our target customer really values. The things they don't value, we're not going to offer. We're actually going to be worse than everyone else on the planet because they don't really value that. The case in point, the sandwich shop, you know, we served customers who were coming from the office tower who had a very short time. They just wanted to pick, pay and go. The last thing they wanted was table service. So we didn't give it to them. We just didn't provide it. So we were the worst table service restaurant or cafe in the strip. But that's because our target customers didn't value it. We didn't do a hybrid where we did, oh, we will do either or. We said, no, we are here for a particular thing. We do really good quality on the thing our customers love, and the things they don't want, we actually don't offer. So this is where we have to be. So this is 100% quality, and it sounds a bit stupid, doesn't it? But that key's not going to open anything, is it? I don't know a lock on the planet that key is going to open. But it's 100% quality. There's nothing cut out of it. But when we give it to a locksmith and they create this, in a way we've sacrificed quality because we've cut things out of that key. This is crazy. You know, we had a perfectly good key here, and now we've gone and cut things out of it. We've actually sacrificed quality, but in doing so, we've actually created something of value. We've actually created something that actually unlocks a door. And so commercialization has as much to do with what you remove as what you provide. So we're going to be thinking, and a lot of this is positioning, and that's what this talk is about. It's how do you position yourself so that you actually decide what things you're going to do quality, what things you're going to meet the market at, and what things are you going to actually be the worst in the market at providing. And that sounds really weird to be coming up with a business concept like that, but if you don't come up with that sort of concept, you won't make money. Otherwise, your cost structure will be far too high. Bill Crosby says he doesn't know the secret to success, but he knows what the secret of failure is trying to please everyone. And this is where, in our positioning, and we talked a bit about our target customer, we have to really target well our customer because that's how we make money. So commercial success is about specialization. And we talked about that before when I was talking about customer targets. I want to hear you get a niche customer. You're talking about a really tight niche customer because when I hear that, I think you are going to design a product or a product that's going to have high commercial value. So Phil knows all about this, the importance of targeting, and he taught me all about this. I said, don't you just need a rod and some reel and some sinker and some ugri and some hook and can't you catch fish? And I'd go down to the same spot he'd go down to and I'd catch nothing. So he sets me up with this flathead thing and he says, throw that in. And we caught 3 or 4 flathead that day. Same place, same spot, we tried to fish for everything. So if you fish for anything, in other words, if you say, oh, I'll try and catch anything, you get nothing. But if you fish for something, you get something. That sounds really weird. But it's talking about targeting. It's talking about specifically going after something. And part of that targeting is what you're not targeting. And so when I'm talking to you about your business idea, I'm talking to you about what you're not going to do. Not necessarily what you are going to do, because you'll rattle on about, because you've never been in business in that sense, you're going to talk about all these wonderful things you're going to do that everyone else doesn't do. But in my mind, I'm adding cost. Every time you say something, the price is going up. The cost price is going up. And I'm seeing you're squeezing your margins. How are you going to build a sustainable business? I would rather you say, this particular customer likes this stuff really importantly, so we're going to get good at that, but we're going to remove all of this. And so we made self-service. Our customers didn't mind self-service because they didn't value that. They didn't come for that. If they wanted to be self-served, they went across to the cafe and paid twice as much. Their business model was different to mine. And this is what while we were both in the same market, we actually positioned ourselves quite differently based on our target customers. When we're talking about targeting, it's really important with our product that we differentiate between experience and commodity. And most of us are going to have to go into the experience business, yeah? Commodity is mostly taken up by the big people. And when I say commodity, I'm thinking of products like flour, like sugar, like milk, like bread. Every one of those words I just said, attached to each of those products are huge businesses, aren't they? Global businesses, yeah? The trouble with commodity, which is volume, big business, cost reduction, economies of scale, mostly goods. The trouble with getting into commodity business is that you're playing with the big guys. We can't compete with them because they've already got the economies of scale. Down the road here, they've got factories, massive milk factories. We can't go into the milk business because they've already killed us on their economies of scale. Where we're going to need to go is into the experience business. Experience business is giving customers an experience, giving customers more than just a commodity, sugar, flour, this sort of thing. We're giving them more an experience because that's where we're going to get margins. It's mostly going to be services. Even if you're selling a product, you're going to try and build experiences around that product. So I only put that up because we're going to probably, as a small to medium enterprises, which is what most of us are opening, we're going to be needing to focus on the experience of the customer, not just the commodity. Let's go back to this commercialization is targeting. Back to our key. We've actually got to decide what is it you're going to excel at. What attribute in your product offer are you going to excel at? And the reason you're going to excel at because that's what your target customer values really highly. What are you going to meet the market at or match? What are you going to match the market? In other words, you have to carry this product because everyone else carries it. You're not going to try and do anything special with it, but your customers expect you to have it. What are the things that you're either not even going to offer, or if you do offer them, you'll offer them at the absolute minimum? What are those things? The reason I need you to determine this is because this is now determining your commercial model. This is now teaching you how to make money. Because if you excel at every single thing that the customer comes into your store to do, you will not create a commercial product. You haven't sacrificed quality for profit. You've actually given customers everything and there's nothing left for you. Now, if you're a non-for-profit and you don't mind working for nothing, then go right ahead. But those of you that actually want to make money out of this, we need to make this decision about our products, and we're going to do that as an exercise in a minute. So matching your offer to the target customer's expectation will open doors to engagement and profit. So what we've got is 4 businesses. These businesses are all in the food and drink business. Chicken Plus, typical takeaway sandwich bar, they're in the food and drink business, aren't they? McDonald's, in the food and drink business. 5-star restaurant, in the food and drink business. The coffee club, all in the food and drink business. But they are positioning themselves at completely different parts of the market. So let's just go and play with this. See if we can remember that as we put it up here. If we just take this matrix, and your exercise for tonight is to do the other parts of the matrix, let's talk about product quality and price. So price is from cheapest to dearest. So these are just 2 aspects, and there's probably about 30 aspects to every product, and I've got them listed somewhere, which I'll give them to you. There's about 30 different aspects to every single product. What you need to do is to do this matrix up. You need to put yourself on this matrix and you need to put your competitors. And you need to explain to me what you're going to excel at and what you're not going to. You need to position your business so that it has the potential to make money. So let's look at how these guys operate. I could draw on here, couldn't I? I could probably just get out of it and just show you. So let's have a class discussion about where we think this is going to fit. So let's take the local takeaway. The local takeaway, where do you think they fit on cheapest to dearest, firstly? So where do they fit? Probably the casino restaurant is down here somewhere. Coffee club. Are they more expensive or cheaper than McDonald's, the local? More expensive. So maybe they're sort of 4-ish or 5? Are we happy there, just for the sake of this exercise? So we're sitting about 4 for the local takeaway. What about their product quality? Where would you rank their quality? If you were ranking their quality, if a food critic was going to the local takeaway and testing their food, where would they sit?
Takeaway.
Yeah, it's a bit very.
You get some really good local takeaways.
Let's just take your typical sandwich bar. Your typical sandwich bar, where does it sit in the food critic's mind?
B.
Maybe. G? Yeah. Something like that? Just for the sake of this. So E4, I'm going to put a 1. Oh, wait. E4, I'll just show you how this works. Okay, so we put a 1. Good. All right, where does McDonald's sit? Where does McDonald's, are they more expensive than the local sandwich bar? Are they? Is that what you think?
It's quite expensive.
Are they cheaper?
I would say 5.
Yeah? Does someone think they're more?
Yeah.
I would think they're cheaper than the sandwich bar. They're not. They're more expensive.
$13.
McDonald's.
McDonald's portions are smaller now.
So McDonald's are cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay. For the sake of this, we'll say that they're fine. They're around that cheap area. Where do they sit in terms of quality? Are they up with each? That's the highest quality.
No, that's not.
Oh, so you're saying J.
Yeah.
All right, so let's not be that cool. Let's just give them I. So,
Oh.
so don't you like cardboard, you guys?
The
The truth is,
burger and I got
you know, the secret to McDonald's is they're not in the food and drink. The rest of those businesses are in the food and drink game. You know what they're into? They're in they're into the hunger game. The only time you go to McDonald's is when you're hungry. And when I'm talking hungry, I'm talking starving. And I'm talking driving along and you cannot resist, whoosh. And when you're sitting there eating that stuff and cursing that you did that, you've got to remember you went there because you were starving. That's the only time. If you're not hungry, if you're really not that hungry, you can actually drive past a McDonald's and not have any. But when you're hungry, good luck. So I figured out that they're actually in the hunger business. They're not in the food and drink business. Okay, coffee club. Where do they sit for price?
8.
8. 7. Where do they sit for quality? If a food critic was to go into the coffee club.
D.
So D7. So right, D7. So D7, we're going to go 3. All right, casino, restaurant, I guess we're going to say they're probably the nearest, aren't they? Where do they sit for quality? Food critic, remember quality?
CB.
They'd be up there somewhere, wouldn't they? So maybe there's something like, let's put them right up there. The point that I'm trying to make here is that each of these businesses have cut their key based on their target customer. They understand their target customer. They understand what their customer really wants. You know, McDonald's, you know what McDonald's selling? They're selling the clean toilets too, aren't they? If you're driving, the other thing they're selling is satisfying kids. You know, if you've got kids in the back, you can't stop at the local hamburger, local takeaway, you've got to take them to McDonald's. You know, they sell a whole lot of different things, and actually the concept of food quality is really not important to them. They know they're not selling food quality. As long as it's hot and it's got salt and fat and whatever else you got, like sugar.
And it's standard too, you know, like, doesn't matter if you go to Sydney, Melbourne, or
Consistency.
Paris, it's consistent.
Whereas you don't know when you stop at a little takeaway somewhere in the middle of nowhere, you're not sure when was the last time they sold a hamburger at this place.
Yeah.
So they've got a different value proposition. They're actually satisfying a different thing. Even though we all think they're in the food and drink business, look how they position themselves on this 2 product. But now listen, there's 30 different attributes to the things that you're going to sell. What I want you to do for this exercise tonight before we go is we're going to take those same businesses and we're going to look at 8 other attributes, and you'll see that they all position themselves quite differently. They're all in the food and drink game, but they all position themselves differently. You have to do the same with your business. You need to be able to tell me where you're going to be out there as the dearest on some things, but low quality, because that's your model. Remember, we're trying to make money out of this. We can't be the dearest and best quality and the best service and the best range. If you start ticking all those boxes and I cost that out for you, you'll make $1 out of every customer and go broke. We have to decide where we're going to sacrifice quality. So when I'm asking you about your business model, I'm looking for what you're taking out of your offer as much as what you're building into your offer. Because remember, the more you build into that offer, the higher your costs, the less margins for profit. The less margin for profit, the less chance of success. So I'm actually looking for the opposite to you, what you think I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for how you've perfectly targeted your offer to your target market and reduced all the things that your target market doesn't want. You've actually reduced them to nothing because they don't value it, so don't give it to them, yeah? So, anyway, so there's a stark example of how each of those businesses position themselves differently. This is another group activity. We need to do this before we go. otherwise you can't go home. We're all doing the same one, so we'll see how you all come up with different answers. Oh. So just take one, Pastor. Take one for everyone, but I need a group sheet back, please.